Hello everybody, hopefully you're having a great one as usual. I wanted to do a tech related video today just because I haven't done many in a while, so I wanted to bring something very unique to the table. So before we actually get into the main topic, this is the Xbox 360 steering wheel. You can get this for pretty good prices online, so you can go on eBay and browse for Xbox 360 steering wheel and you will find this wireless steering wheel. So just a quick overview on it. It's a very well built steering wheel for anybody that wants to use a steering wheel for Xbox 360 because it has very responsive controls with its paddle shifters, main buttons with the A, B, Y, and X, the actual steering wheel itself, and the foot pedals all really work great. Another cool feature with it being wireless is that it also has the headphone feature where you can plug in your headset / microphone, and you can actually use your own Xbox battery packs from your controllers, and if you want to, you can just switch them on from the controller to the actual wireless steering wheel like I did here. So any of those can really work with AA's or just regular rechargeable packs. I really like how the steering wheel is very easy to use for anybody that used an Xbox 360 controller. So if you actually want a steering wheel for your Xbox 360 games, I would highly recommend picking this up because of the great quality and pretty nice price. So as you can see, when it comes to pictures and seeing this online, it's always advertised for the Xbox 360, of course, because as you can see on the controller and steering wheel itself, it has the X for Xbox 360. And this other product here, which is the PC wireless gaming receiver, this is very important as well for later in the video. And as you can see, it's advertised for Windows 7, and of course, it's probably going to be compatible with Windows 8 and 10 as well, because I do have a newer one here, which I believe was advertised for 8, but it'll probably work on 10 as well easily. So all it has is the USB connector and the sync button. So all you would need to do is just connect that to your PC and sync it up with your Xbox 360 controller, and it should be connected easy as that. You can even use it as a mouse if you really wanted to by using the guide button and just using the right analog stick. So as you can see, here's my quick little setup that I have with the Xbox 360 steering wheel and my PC. So all I just have is just my normal old computer chair, and I have the pedals on the bottom, and I just have my steering wheel directly in front of me. The only problem is that the steering wheel is made for being on your lap, so it's going to be a little bit weird having it on a desk unless you have something to kind of balance the weight with. So this is my favorite Need for Speed game, or modern Need for Speed game, and using it with the steering wheel in this is really working well, and I actually don't fly off the road or anything like that, even with the force feedback off, which you need the AC adapter for. Even though that's off and playing this game, it works very well. Just make sure you don't turn very hard, or else you'll probably swiggle left and right, which is a common theme which you'll see in most games, and especially later on in the video. This is me doing a quick drift, and using the steering wheel with that turned out very well, and it wasn't that difficult to do. So this is the Nvidia Shield. I had very cool ideas. I'm like, what if this wireless receiver worked on an Nvidia Shield? Because I never saw anything before about Android using a steering wheel. So I decided to try it out, and of course, for some reason my Xbox 360 controller worked. So then I tried out the steering wheel to see if it would connect, and surely enough, it worked. And I was just so happy that it worked, and it just gave me great ideas of what I can use this steering wheel for many games on Android, and especially with emulators. I kind of have this hooked up to my Android TV. It's on my other TV screen here, so I had to change my setup a little bit, but the chair and the table itself was able to kind of compress the weight down with the steering wheel, so the steering wheel didn't wobble at all, which is pretty nice, which I recommend doing. Just having anything on top of the steering wheel in the front area just so it doesn't wobble back and forth, even though you don't really need it. Actually going on Android itself, using the steering wheel, I can actually navigate it pretty well, clicking the guide button to exit out of an app that I'm using, and I can use the D-pad and use the A, B, X, and Y buttons for navigating through the menus. So we're using the Steam stream feature on the Nvidia Shield, which works really well, and I really love how you can stream any of your Steam games without having to pay for the service. All you need to do is just pay for the game. Playing Rocket League right here with the steering wheel, it actually works very well. Of course, the only problem when it comes to a game like Rocket League is that you will need the front and back part of the analog stick, and of course the steering wheel is only able to go left and right. So you're not able to do front flips or back flips, which is something you really need in Rocket League. But other than that, if that wasn't a big part in the game, it actually worked very well, even though I got scored on pretty bad. So the next thing that we wanted to try on PPSSPP, which is an Android PSP emulator, which I wanted to try out to see if it would work. It actually worked out very fine. All I had to do was just change the controls up, which you guys saw on screen a tiny bit ago. So the first game I wanted to try was Gran Turismo, just to see how it ran. Of course, I changed the view right away, just to see if I can get that driver's view. And in actually doing so, it actually brought a very fun and cool experience. It is kind of funny with the PSP graphics, but it actually turned out as good as expected, which I'm very happy with. Driving in this game is not as difficult as you would think, and it was pretty simple, most of all. And the next game that we're playing here is, of course, Need for Speed Most Wanted. Best game ever. Of course, on PSP, it's going to be a little bit different. This game is just different on PSP due to not really being able to have that open world as you are used to playing on the console versions. Playing this with an Xbox 360 steering wheel, however, is pretty difficult. In the normal game, with just using the normal analog stick on the PSP, it was pretty hard to steer. So using an Xbox 360 controller to steer playing on this game was difficult as well. So you'll be like me, swaying around left and right all over the place. The last PSP game I wanted to try out was DTM Racer Driver 2. This game felt very similar to Gran Turismo, so I wanted to try out this game for myself and kind of have the whole experience and see how it is compared to Gran Turismo in the first place. Driving in this game was a little bit harder than Gran Turismo, but nowhere as hard as playing on Need for Speed Most Wanted. So you're able to actually keep yourself on the road a lot. You just have to make sure you watch out for those tight corner turns and accidentally crashing the vehicles, because that will throw you off the road and that will actually mess you up from actually finishing a race and trying to get in first, as you can see me right here. So the last thing that I wanted to try out was an actual Android game, and playing Real Racing 3, right away the game started telling me that my Xbox 360 steering wheel controller was connected. The first game mode that I wanted to try out in Real Racing 3 was the drag racing mode. I kind of felt like I was in a Fast and Furious film for a moment, even though it was only for just a couple seconds. You're able to use the paddle shifters and the gas in this game mode. You don't really need to turn at all. I'm not too sure if you could change the view. I have to check that later. But in this game mode, you're able to just use the paddle shifters to upshift or downshift. For some reason it was A at first, but you can remap that to the paddle shifters afterwards. It was very easy and it was a very fun experience. In the regular racing mode, you're able to go into, I believe, the cockpit view is what it's called, but I just call it first person view because that's what it kind of feels like. In this game mode, when you're in the first person view, you can see the driver turning the wheel as you turn the wheel, and you can see him shift. So if you actually have the vehicle in manual in the game, when you're shifting, you'll see the guy shift. And I think this gives out a really cool racing experience. So like the game implies in the title, it feels like real racing. And you can actually go into different views, which gives a little bit of a cool driving angle in case you want to play the game in any other different way when driving, but I recommend just staying in the cockpit view. It took me a little while to get used to driving with the steering wheel in this game, but I think you'll get used to it pretty quickly once you're able to get through a few races. I really believe this is the best racing game with the Xbox 360 steering wheel. After all that, I kind of thought to myself, if you're able to use the Xbox 360 controllers on the Nvidia Shield, which is Android, who says that you can also use it on the actual Android phone that you have right next to you, if you do have an Android phone. So I decided to try out this kind of theory of mine, and I had a USB micro B in my phone, so I'm able to actually use this dongle from Samsung, which is the micro USB to USB type A, and in doing so I'm able to connect the Xbox 360 wireless receiver. I just find it so funny because this wireless receiver was made for Microsoft, and which is Windows only, but for some reason it just worked on Android. I thought it was just so interesting and I wanted to share this out with you guys about it. The first game I decided to try out, which is the only game I had as a racing game on my Android phone, was Pocket Rally. It was very easy to connect, especially with the Xbox 360 steering wheel. All I had to do was go into the menu and just select what kind of scheme that I wanted to use. Of course, it was just the gamepad. So all I had to do was just map the controls, which took only a couple seconds. So right away in the game, I just changed the view by clicking Y, which is the change camera angle function was. And in doing so, I was able to get driving right away. And this game was actually able to work very well with my Xbox 360 steering wheel. And I actually felt like I was able to really drive in this game. The game was a little bit difficult because you are on dirt roads and it is a rally game, so it will take a little bit longer to get used to than Real Racing 3, but it is very fun once you're actually able to get on the dirt road and start driving. And the controls felt very responsive, and it didn't feel like there was any weird latency issue. It felt like I was able to play the game and not have to worry about that whatsoever. And with the force feedback, which I'll get in the future with the AC adapter, it'll feel even better, which I might make a video on, maybe not, but I would highly recommend getting that if you have the Xbox 360 steering wheel. So this controller worked very well in everything that I thrown at it, from PC games, Xbox 360 games, and of course Android. I tried to look up online if this was a thing on YouTube already, and I haven't saw anything on it. I saw a lot of weird DIY tricks that people use, like a frisbee and a phone as a steering wheel, and using... You ready for this, guys? I don't think you guys are ready for this. I don't think you are. Somebody used a plastic steering wheel, and they used cardboard, and some people used even paper foot pedals on a keyboard, which I have to say, very creative. I have to give them credit on that. They used the OTG cable, which I believe it's called, which goes from micro B to USB type A, and it worked very well, I have to say. So hopefully all you guys can try this out for yourself and get this cool driving experience in, and let me know if it works for you guys, and let me know if you guys have any questions on it. I love to help, and I love to talk about this some more. Maybe I'll even do a live stream on it, which will be very fun, and I want to actually get into playing more games with this steering wheel. So thank you guys for watching this video, and definitely share it out there so anybody else can try this as well. I'd love to see everybody else trying this. So anyways, have a great one, guys, and peace out.